the gospel. Instill in us also reverence for your blessed commandments, so that having conquered sinful desires, we may pursue a spiritual life, thinking and doing all those things that are pleasing to you. For you, Christ, are God of the life of our souls and bodies, and to you we give glory together with the Father without beginning. And you're all holy, good, and life-giving Spirit, now and ever, to the ages of ages. Wisdom arise, let us hear the Holy Gospel. Peace be with you all.
And with your spirit.
Reading is from the Holy Gospel according to St. Mark. Let us be attentive.
Glory to you, Lord. Glory to you.
At that time a man came to Jesus, kneeling and saying, Teacher, I brought my son to you, for he has a dumb spirit, and whenever it seizes him, it dashes him down, and he foams and grinds his teeth and becomes rigid. And asked your disciples to cast it out, and they were not able. And he answered them, O faithless generation, how long am I to be with you? How long am I to bear with you? Bring him to me. And they brought the boy to him, and when the spirit saw him, immediately it convulsed the boy, and he fell to the ground and rolled about, foaming at the mouth. And Jesus asked his father, how long has he had this? And he said, from childhood. And it has often cast him into the fire and into the water to destroy him. But if you can do anything, have pity on us and help us. And Jesus said to them, if you can, all things are possible to him who believes. Immediately the father of the child cried out and said, I believe, help my unbelief. When Jesus saw that a crowd came running together, he rebuked the unclean spirit and saying to him, you dumb and deaf spirit, I command you to come out of him and never enter him again. And after crying out and convulsing him terribly, it came out, and the boy was like a corpse, so that most of them said, he is dead. But Jesus took him by the hand and lifted him up, and he arose. And when he had entered the house, his disciples asked him privately, why can we not cast it out? And he said to them, this kind cannot be driven out by anything but by prayer and fasting. They went on from there and passed through Galilee, and he would not have anyone know it. For he was teaching his disciples, saying to them, the Son of Man will be delivered into the hands of men, and they will kill him, and when he is killed, after 3 days, he will rise.
Glory to you, O Lord. Glory to you.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'm not going to change the Bible as we speak, but we're going to have this ladder here. As an example, when you came in the church today, you saw an icon, the icon St. John the Ladder, St. John Climacus. I don't know what you saw in the ladder there, but there's a ladder in the icon. There's an icon that shows human beings, people like you and me, climbing up the ladder, and at the top is the hand depicted in the icon, the hand of Christ, the hand of God, inviting people to come up and be with him. And I don't know if you noticed what was on the outside of the, on the other side of the ladder. They're black winged figures, and a lot of us are not sure what to do with that, but for us as Orthodox Christians, it reminds us of a deep spiritual warfare that we're fighting, that we're entering, and that we're surviving, not surviving, but walking through. I remember a story of Naomi, I forgot what her last name is, that wrote Kitchen Table Wisdom, and I think I shared this story before with you. She had an 80-year-old mother that lived in New York City from Russia, and she had a horrible heart condition, and for her 80th birthday, she wanted to climb the stairs of, she wanted to go up to the Statue of Liberty with a bad heart condition, 350-something stairs up. And Naomi, the mother, the daughter said, Mom, you're 80 years old, you have a bad heart, why don't we just take the elevator? She says, no, I've been here all my life, I want to walk up the stairs. And so the daughter said, you know, I'll take some nitroglycerin with me. We'll take some breaks, but we'll do it if that's what she wanted. So they walk up the stairs, and as they're walking up, every fifth or sixth stair, they walk up, they take a break, and people are passing them by. And she catches her breath. 5 or 6 steps later, she catches her breath. People walk by. Finally, after this huge ordeal, and the daughter's saying, "I can't believe I'm doing this. I must have been crazy to go along with this." They're at the last 6 or 7 stairs to go to the top. And the mother said to her daughter, "Why weren't these stairs first? Why couldn't we do these first?" And I thought about our church. Reminds us that we walk up the stairs to our spiritual growth, and it takes time and energy, and sometimes people do pass us by. And this kind of staircase is not the staircase that reminds me of another story about the corporate ladder. It's a famous sculpture in Washington, D.C., and it's called the corporate ladder. What it is, it's a big sculpted piece of a building, and there's people coming from every 4 corners of the 4 sides of the building into the door, and there's windows going up. I can't remember how high the actual sculpture is, but as they're walking up, you can see through the windows people stepping on their shoulders and stepping on heads and walking to the top, pushing people to the top. As they go to the top, people are pushing people off the top of the building out to their own death. The corporate ladder, what are we walking for? I mean, the depiction of that is, what are you and I really taking steps towards? And today, St. John Climacus gives us an incredible invitation because, like, we think of the big book. I don't know if there's any folks that are recovering alcoholics or addicts. They refer to the big book, the 12 steps. And today, I want to refer to you to the big book. 6th, 7th century, beautiful man who wrote the bigger book that has not 12 steps, but 30 steps. And it's kind of hard to understand some of his writings here. But one of the first steps he says that you and I need to do is we need to detach from this world. So the first step we need to do is take a step up and detach from the world. From all the things and the false promises that this world gives, that you're going to be fine if you have enough money. You're going to be fine if you have this kind of attitude and have this kind of education. Don't worry about all these things that God tells you. And like I said last week, evil whispers. Don't worry about walking the steps in this ladder. Don't worry. It's not a big deal. Just do whatever you want. Just do whatever you want. How many of you hear that? Just do whatever you want. When we detach from the world, we are able to hear the Lord inviting us to consider what St. John Climacus says in one of his chapters here. He says, God is the life of all free beings. He is the salvation of all, of believers or unbelievers, of the just or unjust, of the pious or the impious, of those freed from the passions or caught up in them, of monks or those living in the world, or the educated or illiterate, of the healthy or the sick, of the young or the very old. He is like the outpouring of light, the glimpse of the sun, or the changes of the weather, which are the same for everyone without exception. For God is no respecter of particular persons. A Christian is an imitator of Christ in thought, word, and deed as far as this is humanly possible, and he believes rightly and blamelessly in the Holy Trinity. So when he asks us to detach from the world, he asks us to get on the step in the ladder and actually think of our death. How many of you think of your death? He says it's so important to think of the reality of death. One day you will have the last tick-tock of your heartbeat. Can you live by the clock that deceives you, that you think you're going to have tomorrow? St. John Climacus says, no, you might not have tomorrow. So think about where you're going and what's important in your life. Then he starts talking about the virtues we should develop and also the passions that we should resist. And I want to talk to you about the passions today. Because on that icon, as they're walking up the steps, there's priests walking up, right? If you walk, people dressed up in garments, and you know who's pulling the priest off? His little black winged fingers. And what do you think they are? Nothing? Last week I had you put a Band-Aid on depicting the things that grab you and take you away from this ladder. Anyone hear about the spirit of anger? I can be on this ladder walking towards Christ and like that. I hear so many people who have been thrown off the ladder. The evil one just pulls you off and throws you down. You got to get back up. But a lot of times you get pulled off, you don't get back up because it's so hard. You say, no, I don't know if it's worth going back up on this ladder. I know a human being, a person I know, that he was literally so convulsed by anger that he was going down the freeway or on Aurora Bridge, and somebody cut him off, and the anger just kicked off like this, and he ended up chasing him, pushing him, and the guy in front of him got so angry he quickly slammed on the brakes, and he hit him and broke his collarbone, and he got called for vehicular assault. He got charged with vehicular assault. The anger just pulled him down. Anyone ever deal with anger? Like that, it'll take like wildfire. It doesn't take that much. Anyone deal with envy, pride, jealousy? How about fear? Anyone hear fear? Fear is such a big thing that just pulls us off. Anxiety. Fear needs to pull hands so close with anxiety. So I can be walking up this ladder, and like last time, I think I had a Lenny Pesmere walk. It doesn't take much to pull you off the ladder, does it? It takes a lot of effort to come up, but when somebody's coming, it just takes a little tug to pull somebody off the ladder. My prayer as we continue walking this Lent is that we stay vigilant on this ladder, that we stay vigilant walking towards the steps of salvation, with prayer, as it says in the scriptures today, with fasting, as it says, with things that we need, important things to be done in life. We need to fast, we need to pray, we need to be thinking kind thoughts, we need to be glorifying God at every moment. So I'd like for you, from this day forth until we end up together on this beautiful journey in Pascha, that we start from the moment you put your feet on the ground, that you say to yourself, I will glorify God in all my words and all my deeds. St. Paul says in Colossians. And I want you to watch what you do in your car, what you listen to, what you say when somebody cuts you off. And if somebody cuts you off, you think about what I'm saying to you. And St. Paul says to you, I will glorify God in my word and deeds. When you watch TV, I'm not sure what kind of TV shows, but things that don't edify you, that don't glorify in your words and deeds, don't watch it, don't listen to it. When you're in the car, I'm sure Jesus would enjoy listening to NPR and some of the music listen to, but listen to that. But sometimes turn the radio off and be in silence and be still for a little bit. Stay on the ladder of love. Jesus Christ is here to invite you, to tell you that nothing is impossible when we believe. May we continue to walk up the steps of the ladder to edify our souls, that we may walk in the light, and that we may become the light of Christ. This world so desperately needs you to stay on this ladder, because by the second, people are being pulled off. Do you know who the first that's being pulled off? It's you and me. Don't look to the person next to you. So I'm going to challenge you when you get pulled off with whatever thoughts that come to your mind. I'm going to ask you, with God's grace, to get back up and say, Lord, I want to walk. I want to walk. I want to walk. I want to take those steps. And yeah, it's hard. And yeah, I have a heart condition. And yeah, I don't have nitroglycerin. But Lord, I really want to walk up the ladder. Not to the statue of liberty, but to your kingdom, to your love, to your power. Because we will have that in our humility as we do this with a humble heart. May we continue the liturgy with a firm belief that you are loved, with a firm belief that God wants to embrace you as his children, with a firm belief that St. John Climacus has given us a big book. And may we peruse through it. Maybe we can have somebody that can take this big book and have it in bite-sized pieces for us to really be filled with our souls. Amen.